Welcome everybody to episode 11 of Tales from the Tackle Shop. And last time we were on, 2 weeks ago, we had Rob Harris with us. And that was quite an interesting topic. He was talking about the seals and obviously the cormorant situation. So Al, have you had many people in the shop talk to you about this podcast?
Yes. Yeah, I think everyone said it's probably one of the best podcasts we've done, or for best information, and not just this area, but I think angling in the whole, like match angling anyway, and the whole of the country is sort of hot on the cormorants. I know Guru have mentioned it in their podcast, and all sort of the key influencers in fishing are all on about the cormorants, banging the drum. So hopefully as anglers we can stick together. Obviously is it Hydrascape?
Yeah, it's the Hydrascape group. It was the Facebook page.
Yeah. So basically it's not an app, but it's basically you save it to your homepage. If you see a cormorant, whether it be flying about, whether it's at your local venue, wherever, just report it. There's an option to take a picture, how many birds, basic information, send it off. The more cormorants that are sighted and reported, the more it adds to the data, and then we can go to the powers that be and hopefully get something sorted.
Yeah, you're right. It's all about, Rob Harris was very keen on data, and he's correct. If we can get data to prove these figures, then things can be moved forward. So, yeah, that was quite a... I was watching the number of shares for his post of that app.
Yeah, I think it's an app.
Yeah. Well, that web page, for example. And it's just, it was amazing how many people shared it. So, obviously, we hit a bit of a hot topic. But also the seal explanation I thought was superb.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as all the comments from the podcast, Rob and P&DAA have done a fantastic job, and the only way to go about it, really.
Yeah, I was quite... So a lot of the comments were very good. I had to delete and hide some comments, and that just shows what Rob was talking about. There's still some anglers out there that don't get it.
Yeah.
You can't say all these controversial things about seals and other animals and not expect to get a massive backlash from the communities that actually see things a slightly different way. So, well, I say a lot of the comments were fantastic, but I reckon the first 2 or 3 days I was sifting through all the comments, and I did hide about 20.
Right.
Which is a little bit sad.
Yes.
But there we go. You can't cater for everybody. Right, so in this next slot, I've actually got Rob on again. And I actually say at the beginning, 2 podcast time or something like that. Well, I lied, because we're not going to have a gap. We're going to get him on again. And in this podcast, he's talking about how Peterborough District are organised completely different to your traditional fishing club and the roles within the club now. And he also then talks about Clubmate, which is he's a general manager of, and how that's used by Fisheries. And there's even a bit at the end about the junior coaching that they're doing. So should we go straight into it?
Definitely.
If you watched a couple of episodes ago, you saw I had a guest on called Rob Harris, and he is the chairman of Peterborough District Angling Association and the general manager of Clubmate. Well, I've got him back. So this time we're going to delve deeper into looking at angling clubs and a new way, or should I say more efficient way of running them, and his involvement with Clubmate and actually what Clubmate is, because this, guys, will blow your mind. So, Rob, thanks for your time again.
No, you're welcome. Thank you very much. I was just going to say, you've got me back, so you must have run out of ideas. There must be better people out there that keep getting me on here, surely.
No, not at all. No, it's you're a mine of information, and your passion for the sport is incredible. Right, so we're going to dive straight into this. Peterborough District Angling Association. I fished for their junior section when I was 14, which sadly would have been over 50 years ago. But even back then, they were a really, really big club in the area. And I don't think that's ever diminished. I think it's gone from strength to strength. So you're now the chairman of Peterborough District. Can you start at the beginning and how you got involved with the club, please?
Oh, to be honest, it was such a kind of quick process. It kind of all happened before you knew it. We spoke earlier, you know, when we were sat in the kitchen, I spoke, and I never even fished myself till I was in my mid-teens, 14, 15 years old. No one in my family fished at all. One of those families, if you got a granddad, he takes you fishing. Never had any of that. First time I fished was at a kind of holiday park, caravan park, and the lake was rubbish. One of them little horrible holiday park lakes. And I was there with my uncle. And again, like I say, he didn't fish, but he had like a rod that he bought from Dragon Carp at the time, like a £10 rod just to mess around with. And one day he was like, "Oh, do you want to go?" And, I took it, and here we are. I was madly obsessed with fishing, absolutely blown away. Not just with catching them, but with the tactics and the environments and everything about them. So I've always been passionate about the whole thing. Move it forward a little bit. When I was in my early 20s, I moved to Peterborough. Not a million miles from where I kind of came from. I was born and raised in Lincolnshire, but I moved for work to Peterborough. And all of a sudden, obviously, I wanted to go fishing. And obviously, the River Nene in Peterborough, I had a look around, joined the club, started doing some barbel fishing down there and all those kind of things. And before you know it, it was, busy at the time. Castor and those kind of areas were massive for barbel at the time, really busy. So I said, I don't mind helping out. I'll sell a few tickets to be a bailiff as such. So I started being a bailiff, and I spent a couple of years doing that, and I was obsessed. I was doing it every day. I couldn't even sit at home, couldn't have a day off. I'd go bailiffing every day to the detriment of going fishing, because I just loved doing it and loved speaking to people and selling tickets as well, making the club successful. Moving it forward a little bit, I think it just became really clear that the club needed to move on. That it was struggling to cope with its, in the modern age. And we'll come on to this because it's a much wider problem than just Peterborough. Before you know it, I'd kind of moved up the ranks of the committee, and I think some of the older guard had, retired, left, moved on, and I was the chairman. Essentially, I went from, the bottom to the top couple of years, and I'm the chairman of Peterborough District. Massive historical club, as you said, 150-year anniversary last year, so 1875.
Wow, 150 years. That's
150 years. Yeah. And for those people that donated to us last year, we had some anniversary coasters, 150-year P&DAA coasters, which are still in my shed. So I will get you all those coasters when I get a chance. They do exist, but we made some 150-year anniversary coasters.
I didn't realise the Angling Club was that old. That's incredible.
Yeah, 150 years. Now, fascinating story this, and I've not got the answer to this story for you, but something happened in 1875. Because I deal with hundreds of angling clubs, loads of them were founded in 1875. And that can't be a coincidence. And I mean, like 2-3 that I spoke to the same week. So, and I've been digging on this a little bit, but again, don't have much time for, hobbies and such. I'd love to know what it was, because there must have been something that meant loads of angling clubs formed around that time, 1875.
It's not so social media was around and they could communicate.
No, they didn't see it on Facebook. I don't know if they saw it on Face Horse or something, whatever it was, Carrier book. But I think it must have been either they were made to or something like that. There was something that said you've got to form an angling club, because there's so many that were 1875. And
well, if anyone out there knows the answer, let us know.
Get in touch.
Yeah, get in touch. Right, so you're the chairman.
Yeah.
And I know from talking to you previously when we were rehearsing in the kitchen that the constitution of the Angling Club has changed massively. So how did that, because obviously you've had to change the constitution and actually make it into more of a business. So one, I'd like to know your mindset, and two, how did you approach that with the club at the time?
So there's a lot to condense there. I feel like we're kind of 10 years hence now. I think I've been chairman for 12 years. That makes me ache a little bit, but for years and years and years, there were a couple of people doing all of the top management stuff, you might say. Loads of volunteers. We've got fantastic bailiffs. We've got coaches. We've got all sorts. We've got a committee. But in terms of the active management of the club, it was essentially me and John Means, as treasurer and chairman, essentially, and head bailiff John was at the time. And flipping things around a little bit, now that I'm in my position at Clubmate as the general manager, and I speak to clubs every day, because we deal with over 300 angling clubs, they're all the same. There's a handful of people doing everything at the angling club, doing all the management, all of the admin. And the world's changed. In that time period, and certainly over the last 20, 30 years, the world has changed. It's much faster. We don't go to a committee meeting every month now and discuss what we're going to do. It's already happened. We've already made that decision. Yeah. It was an email, Teams call, these kind of things. When you're on a Teams call with the council or the government or the Environment Agency, you don't say, hang on, chaps, for our next committee meeting that's in like God knows when we'll all have some shandies and talk business. So we were already making those decisions. We were already, and the committee were happy with us to make those decisions because we were doing the good things. As we spoke about on our first podcast, the seals, cormorants, things like that. We do good things. So they're happy for us to do what we do. But, you know, it didn't sit right with me. I'm sat here thinking, one, I want to do more. And two, if we're going to do it, let's do it properly. Let's make that the way we operate. So looking at the, and my honest opinion, and I think if we see from the first podcast, I'm not shy of an opinion and I'm happy to say it kind of thing. Committees don't work anymore. Especially in larger angling clubs. They're okay when you're a small, kind of maybe 100 odd members. We're about 2,000 this year, members. More than that in day tickets, more than that in match tickets. So there's thousands of people we're managing. We've got water now in 2 counties on 3 rivers, lakes. It's a lot of management there. A lot of management needs managers. So clubs all need to be run like businesses now. They are businesses. I know it's voluntary in a lot of cases, but you are a business. You're taking money, you're looking at growth, you're looking at expansion. It's a business. So it needs to be run like a business. So going from a couple of people doing most of the admin work and all of the kind of donkey work on running the club to where we are, we looked at the committee, and the first thing is find more people to help you. And with the modern world and online platforms and everything else, that's probably not going to be the people that were running it. You know, the older generation. Yeah. And I mean, the average age of committee members, not just at Peterborough, but around the country, was about 75. Yeah. That don't use phones very much. They don't use technology. So we looked at some younger people. And there's give and take with this. So we're not just looking at kind of getting people to help us. We want to develop them. And it's something we've done very recently, is advertise for more volunteers. I don't know if you saw the post we put out this week, but advertising for more volunteers. We offer quite a strong package that isn't paid. You know, for a club that doesn't pay its volunteers, there's a very strong package there, and we'll touch on that. But we had to find more, because you can't have a management team of 2. You can't have essentially a chairman and 1 guy. So we've now recruited another kind of 3 younger guys, and another one of our guys has now taken on the role of head bailiff, as it was known before. So we've got a team of 5 managers. So essentially we've got 5 managers and myself. And we called them managers. And essentially 3 of them are in their 30s. So they've got a long career, a lot of time to kind of help this sport out. Lots of passion and drive still. They still want to go fishing. They still want to solve the problems. But instead of having a committee where there's a dozen people, you know, whatever else, so we vote round a beer hall, those kind of things. The committee now, we still have a committee. The old committee's still in place. But we meet perhaps once a quarter for a catch-up, tell them what the club's doing, and we go from there. The management team meets at least fortnightly, remotely. We have an online meeting, we discuss what we're doing. We have online task boards, so we can collaborate on projects and management tools and all those kind of things. But instead of the old positions like secretary and membership secretary and things like that, we essentially put people into management columns. So we have myself, and then we've got a head of finance, head of membership, head of participation, looking at coaching, head of enforcement, head of policy, and these all then manage the volunteers in their column. So obviously the head of enforcement is managing bailiffs, head of participation manages the coaches, and takes whatever resources he needs. And the leadership team at Peterborough can act autonomously from the committee. They can spend money, they can do projects without having to go to a massive vote. And I mean this in the kindest possible way, a vote from people that don't have the facts. Yeah. You know, you've got a committee of people, 6 of them don't know anything about coaching or bailiffing, so why should they vote on coaching or bailiffing? Yeah. You're essentially risking not doing the right thing on the vote of someone who has no facts about how it should run.
You've hit the nail on the head, because I've been on committees in the past, and whether it be rugby club, whether it be other angling clubs, you kind of get voted on if you put your hand up.
Yeah, and this is something I'm really keen to change. Again, I'll cover this. We put out a recruitment drive this week because we are ambitious. We want more. We've got about mid-30s, 35 to 40 volunteers, coaches, bailiffs, all across the board. We're really ambitious. So we've covered the seals, we've covered the cormorants, We're doing massive things with coaching through the School of Fish, which I think we'll touch on in a bit. We want more, and we need more. And essentially, we need more people and more kind of tools to do the job. We put out a volunteer call this week to say, come volunteer for P&DAA. This is what we're looking for, and these are the benefits. And just to go through the benefits, and this shocks me because I see, again, a lot of angling clubs and they say, why can't we get volunteers? Why can't we get bailiffs? And essentially it's because you're not giving them anything. I know clubs that don't even give them a discount on their membership. You know, you're expecting someone to manage your tickets, sell your tickets, walk the bank, give up your own fishing time, and they don't even give them a discount on their own ticket.
Well, they should get free membership with volunteering.
I mean, for me, it's that's the bottom line, is that. But I'll run you quickly through what you get when you join P&DAA as a volunteer. And this is a blanket across the board. If you joined us as a volunteer, you would get your free general membership straight away, year one. Moving on to years 2 and 3, you get access to our syndicate waters, so the more valuable stuff. So the syndicate rivers, carp fishing on ferry meadows, to a total of about 400 quid's worth of ticket. And that's the bottom of the bottom line. We give you the branded uniform. You can see I've got my kind of branded Peterborough jacket on, but we've got hoodies, hats, t-shirts, polos, all these kind of things. You get all that for free to keep you warm and, in the winter and all the rest of it, and so that you represent the club. You get ID badges because, again, being a professional operation, bailiffs should be badged. They should have ID so you know who you're talking to, so they're provided for free. That, again, is pretty obvious, and it's shocking how many times I don't see that, but that's still pretty obvious that should be the case. We then give an allowance for outdoor clothing, shoes and trousers, because if we're asking bailiffs...
you give an allowance?
Allowance.
That's how it should be. That's amazing.
Yeah, so... And it's remarkable that this is... I've had people say, wow, mind-blowing, I can't believe what you do for your volunteers. If you're expecting a bailiff to go out in the snow, you should give him trousers to go out in the snow. So every bailiff gets an allowance per year for trousers and boots. And they can spend that on what they want. They can have a 100 quid set of shoes, 100 quid set of trousers, whatever they can, but every bailiff has the ability to access that. On top of that, every volunteer gets a Christmas gift. So chocolates, wine, all the rest of it. We take them out for dinner at Christmas. We have regular social gatherings, so we'll arrange night in the pub and go have some beers and whatever else, keep people active and social. On top of that, we're looking to develop people. Of that management team of 5, 3 of them now pay the bills through jobs in angling. When they first joined Peterborough, that was 0. So you could say, and it's not all of it, obviously they've got their own personal drive, but what they've done with Peterborough has made them careers in angling. Whether that's with fishery management companies, with myself at Clubmate, they're now paying their bills and feeding their family through money from the sport. So we will offer to pay for coaching qualifications. If someone wants to be an angling coach, we will fund that qualification for them. If you want to take up fishery management, we will pay 50% of a qualification in fishery management for you to become a fishery manager through the Institute of Fisheries Management. Now, we're already scales beyond what most clubs are offering volunteers. But obviously we've got an appealing package there. There's an appealing package for people to want to help as well as just...
That's an amazing package. And actually, when you spell it out, it's actually what should happen. Now, you guys have actually taken this on board and you've actually thought about this and you're promoting this massively to try and, reward volunteers, but give them incentives to actually get involved more in the club. And, guys, if you've got an angling club and you're in the old ways, because I have been involved in clubs like this and it's
still most of them, to be honest.
This is an amazing framework.
I don't want to, I don't want to beat our own drum all the time. I'm very proud of what we've achieved, but we are the Angling Times Club of the Year.
Well, I was about to say that you're not Angling Times Club of the Year. You've actually won it twice in the last 3 years.
Yeah, twice in the last 3 years. Once is fantastic. If you do it twice in 3 years, it's not a mistake.
Yeah.
And you can connect this with this and seals with this, and the way you run your club with this, it's not a mistake. There's a reason for doing that, and we're doing good things. And the thing I don't know whether I'm the most proud or the most scared or just scared of the time it's going to take me, but 2026 is probably the biggest year we've ever had. Looking forward this year, the plans are bigger. We're doing more. So hopefully to be repeated, even more success, hopefully. But we're just as passionate about doing it for everyone else. Yeah. For inspiring everyone else to do it.
And that's... we've only met this morning actually to talk to you. And the one thing that I can pick up from you that I have a big passion about is I'll just give our little junior sessions that we do down on the river. It's under the Marchant District umbrella, but it's not Marchant District. It's for anybody who wants to come in and help, coaches or volunteers, children. And then off that, we want them to go and experience the same fishing experience with other clubs.
Yeah.
And this is what I've noticed from what you're saying about Peterborough District. It's, even though it's the Peterborough District Angling Association, you are so willing to help other organisations with your time, your knowledge and your expertise in different areas, that you're actually looking just to promote the sport itself, and you don't really care for what...
I don't care where they go. And it's the same for the whole club. This is the phrase I will use. I use it a lot recently. There are no solutions that are not national solutions. It's true of cormorants. You know, we can solve it in Peterborough. They'll just move next door. They'll come see you at March, to be honest.
Yeah.
And that's the true of kids, seals, cormorants, the way you run your club. There are no solutions that are not national solutions. And if we all work together nationally, we will build a better sport. And Peterborough is, you know, we've kind of run our race. We're as big as we probably can be, roughly, geographically. Because geographically, you can only get so big. There's only so many people that want to fish in Peterborough. So what's next for us is making angling better nationally, you know, improving the sport nationally.
Yeah. Well, you must be national. I mean, the Angling Trust, Angling Times as a publication, they must be seeking your advice on certain things all the time now, because you have showed the way to go. And if they're not, then maybe they should be. I mean, are you having these conversations now? Has the club elevated itself to these levels?
I mean, I have loads of conversations. I do loads with Canal and River Trust, supporting the Let's Fish scheme, both through Clubmate and Peterborough. The Let's Fish scheme at CRT is amazing. You know, the national celebration, over 500 kids fishing on the canal. But we support those an awful lot from both sides of the world. Bit of an exclusive on this one. I don't know when this podcast is going out, and I haven't announced it at all yet. But I know it's reasonably public knowledge in the CRT channels. But this year, Peterborough is going to be sponsoring, and P&DAA is going to be sponsoring via the School of Fish that we run at Peterborough, the Let's Fish leagues that Canal and River Trust run around the country. They run 8 regional leagues. They're like mini kids leagues, essentially. We're going to be running Let's Fish Regional League East Anglia. So there are going to be 4 matches in our region. There's 8 of those leagues around the country. And each league has 3 age categories. And at the end of those 4 matches, there will be 3 winners, 1 in each age category. And they all go through to a national final. Peterborough is going to be sponsoring prizes for the league winner in every region, in the whole country.
Wow.
And we're going to buy them a little tackle prize, you know, not thousands, but, you know, it's going to be enough. It's going to be a little bit, but we're going to give a prize to every age group in every region around the country this year.
That's incredible. That's just showing support way beyond your own area. Fantastic.
We don't have to. You know, this is the problem. And I think this is why people don't. They don't have to. You know, we don't have to support beyond the boundaries of Peterborough. We don't have to. Obviously, we've taken on a lot of water in Spalding, Bourne. We didn't have to do that. We could have just stayed in Peterborough. But we believe in what we do. We believe what we do is good. So let's get bigger and do it for more people. Let's do it with everyone.
Yeah, that's to your credit. That's amazing. That is to your credit. Right. Now, I really want to touch on Clubmate, because I did not know much about... I knew about the different platforms that were available, but you've shown me something which has blown my mind. So you're actually the General Manager of Clubmate. Can you explain to us what that is, please?
So Clubmate is, we call it the all-in-one management platform for clubs and fisheries, but essentially it is a piece of software and an app that you can manage your club with. You can manage your fishery, and it does a lot of the stuff that I had to manually do at Peterborough that came from just being me, you know, doing all the hard work because I was younger. You know, in terms of chairman, I'm probably one of the youngest ones in the country, I imagine, if not the youngest.
Yeah.
But I had those skills. Clubmate can do that for you. Essentially, we've got a team of staff and we've got a software that lets you run your club online, remotely, sell tickets easier, communicate with your members, report your finances. It's a bit of a funny one because you've never really touched it, kind of thing. You don't really, you're aware of it as a name, but don't really know what it is, how big it is. The business is huge now. We manage over 350 fisheries now, clubs and fisheries around the country. Last year, I think we processed 130,000 something annual memberships. More than that in day tickets, guest tickets, match tickets, all the rest of it. Transactions in the tens of millions on behalf of clubs. And essentially, it gives your club a branded software to sell memberships, to sell tickets, to look at your reporting, your finances. all those kind of things. And it is the all-in-one tool. You can manage your bailiffs, you can see who's fishing today, you can do renewals and all those kind of things. And I'm not here to sell it at all, but I will absolutely stand by the fact, and it's one of the very important reasons Peterborough is where it is technology. It will save you hundreds of hours per year for, your membership secretary who might be spending dozens of hours on paper books and, essentially tickets and paper and cash. And, he spends January to March. 3 months is usually what it is. Spends 3 months. Here we go. I bought my lighter so I can torch it, but a paper handbook. It takes some poor guy 3 months to send those.
Well, I'm not gonna give away the club because it'd be very unfair. But there's a permit that I've got for this year.
Yeah.
The printing costs alone for this book must be in the thousands.
Oh yeah, clubs, a small club, you're talking £2-3 per book if you're getting a good price. A couple of quid per person per piece of paper. If you're 500 members, that's like £1,000 at least. At least.
But that has to get posted out.
Yeah, and that's just to produce them. That's without the stamps. It's without the guy that has to run them around. And I've done that, by the way. I've been that guy. Deliver them to the tackle shops. Give the bailiffs a load. So you got to meet up with 15 bailiffs and say you can have 10, you can have 20.
That's crazy. And then we've all got these.
Yeah.
I mean, these are mini computers. So Rob was showing me so many different parts of the software earlier, where you can basically dive into the package. You can see who your annual members are. You can see who your day ticket members are. You can see when people's tickets running out. You can even have a group that bailiffs share. Is that the correct way of putting it?
Yeah.
And it's just and that was just the management of the fishery, which I can, at the top of my head. It then had sections for selling merchandise. It then had sections for Rob, help me out here because I'm running out.
There's loads. Your financial reporting. I'm just trying to get one of the kind of. If you have a look now, I don't know if show to one of these cameras.
Well, I'll put a screenshot up.
You can kind of put a screenshot up, but every member gets to come here, buy a membership, book a day ticket, buy some clothing. They can talk to the club and all those kind of things. Automatic renewal reminders. It's all branded to look like your club. It can look and feel like your club. So if they're coming from your Facebook page or your website, they feel like they're still in your environment.
So by buying this package, clubs can actually change how it looks to suit their own brand.
Yeah, they can customise their own branding, kind of make it look and feel exactly how you currently look and feel, which is very comforting for the club. And I really don't want to make this sound like a sales pitch. It revolutionises the club because the most important thing, I came up with a little buzzword and I kind of like it and kind of don't. It's more time on the bank and less time at the bank. It sounds like such a cheesy hook, but it's true. What you're not doing is spending 3 months stuck in your house doing renewals. You're on the bank actually sorting your fishery out. Go get the seals, go get your cormorants, put your habitat in. You're not spending, and again, we spoke about an example earlier of a club that was spending like 12 grand on paper handbooks every year. That can all go into habitat projects. It can go into kids. You can spend that on kids fishing, on whips and poles and, accessibility features. And one of our fisheries last year, one of the angling clubs we deal with a bit norther in the country than here, estimated that he'd saved himself 500 hours admin last year, whilst increasing his revenue 30%. So he'd gone up by 30% in membership with 500 hours less work.
Yeah.
And those kind of tools, like I say, you need the effort and you need the passion and you need the drive. And clearly I've hopefully got the drive and the passion, and so have the team guys that we work with at Peterborough. The tools are then the thing, these kind of tools then help you take that drive and passion and put it in the right areas instead of messing around with bits of paper.
Well, so life's changed, hasn't it? It's like I said, it's got so much quicker, but we've got all this technology to help. And things like, I work at Graff for Angling Water, just in the shop, just casual hours, and we have a booking system, and it's getting all those guys to book online, actually go into it's a different system to Clubmate, but it's just trying to win the hearts and minds of getting people to do it. And now I can honestly say, I reckon 95% of the customers I deal with have actually got it into their heads that they can do this. And when you look at an angling club, particularly, I think the really small ones might struggle with something like this, but when you get to a certain size, this just takes away all the hassle you have with printing licenses, printing books, money.
Yeah.
So how you equate for all the sales, getting communication across to people, so you can group message people when there's a
You
problem.
can email any category. You can email, text message, push notifications to the phone, any group of people, just the adult members, just the junior members, just the
To
pie
me,
keepers.
this is an absolute no-brainer because
Absolutely.
it just changes the ballgame. Now, one thing I want to touch on before we leave this is also you've got the junior coaching section set up on this as well.
Yeah.
And this blew my mind. So can you explain how you've done that, please?
So over at Peterborough, we've always had a passion, hopefully for good things entirely, but part of that is kids fishing, getting more people fishing, certainly getting juniors into the club. And we did it in this vague way, like everyone does, where we just coached some kids at Peterborough. And then we wanted to kind of really drill down and make it something more specific. So what we came up with was School of Fish. We came up with an entity called School of Fish, with a little bit of a play on words, obviously. And essentially, that's our dedicated coaching school. And the more we did it, the more it lent itself to being entirely separate to the club. So we have just now, actually recently, set it up as its own limited company. So it can be managed entirely as a separate entity, but still supported by P&DAA and managed by ourselves. But School of Fish is then run through a Clubmate site. So essentially we've got a fully branded School of Fish, and we can show you some of the details. We won't show you the members on there, but we'll show you what it looks like. Kids can sign up to the app, School of Fish. They can buy merchandise. They can book a coaching session. They can win awards. We've got kind of bronze, silver, gold awards of when you've achieved certain stages in your coaching. We have, and again, I think I'll go down the rabbit hole and waste another 2 hours, but one of the biggest problems in kids fishing, and I'm sure you'll have seen this even if you didn't think about it this way, we shove a whip in a kid's hand and think we've achieved angling. We do a coaching session and we see them all the time. And they're not bad things. I'm not going to criticise anyone for doing that. But we do a whip day. We shove a whip in their hand with some maggots hanging off and they catch a bleak. And we go, God, well done, everyone. We've achieved angling. And we haven't. We've done absolutely zero. They've had a good time. They go away. They don't know where to go, what to do, who to speak to, never go again.
That's the important thing. It's the after sales, isn't it? So it's kind of like giving that information and confidence. And also the parents.
Yeah.
So we took on board this year newbies into the sport, but I made sure the parents didn't know anything about the sport as well, because the remit for the volunteers was to actually give the parents a go, give them the confidence to unhook a fish, and we gave them a few locations of where to go as well, because that's
I remember reading it because it was a really interesting thing when I saw that you'd advertised basically that you didn't want any experience, because it was obviously basically what you're trying to do is kind of measure how successful that is, kind of see what that works. So I was really fascinated to see it.
And also, from the coach's point of view, the worst thing you can have is someone who knows a little bit about fishing.
Oh, someone over you. Yeah. I'll tell you this: the worst people I deal with at Clubmate are the people who work in software. So obviously we deal with hundreds of angling clubs, and I get people that run clubs that go, I work in software or I worked in business, and I think, oh God, here we go. Worst people. Yeah. Little bit of knowledge and all that kind of stuff.
It's like dealing with teachers, mate. You ask 100 teachers the same question, you'll get 100 different answers. Yeah. It's hard work.
But when you're coaching, having some match angling guy, he can teach you how to fish apparently, kind of thing, and he's over your shoulder when you got his buoy, and you kind of think, well, why aren't you bloody taking him?
Exactly.
But yeah, we set up the School of Fish. It's been running for a year or so now. We've got over 300 kids signed up for School of Fish. And when I say signed up, and this is the important part, you can book a session, you can do your first time fishing, all the rest of it. You're immediately part of that community. Because we've got the tools now and you're in that data set, you're in that system. You can contact us anytime. As I showed you earlier, there's a button in there that says ask a question anytime. Yeah. You put a little question in, you press go, and it pings all of our coaches. It goes straight to every coach.
What I've learnt this off you today, and so when we do our coaching sessions this summer, I will be giving them bits of paper with the link on, or bits of papers, old school, but litter. But you know what I mean? I'm going to be promoting this because it's not about what we do, it's about what we all do. Yeah. And this is an amazing tool.
It doesn't matter whose coaching session they go to. I don't care. I want them to be fishing. Yeah. And this is why we did the coach thing. And obviously we talked about this a little bit earlier. In the last couple of years, Peterborough has hosted and developed and funded, for the most part, coaches all around the East Coast. 30, I think, level 2 coaches, lead coaches, around this eastern region. Only a fraction of which were actually Peterborough coaches, because we think a successful eastern region and further is a successful sport.
I know, that's another thing I wanted to touch on with you, because I heard this on the grapevine that you actually were just putting on courses and for free for the guys wanting to do it.
No, absolutely. We took a deposit to try and because you've got to have something to kind of keep them in the bag. Don't want tire kickers, so to speak. So we took a deposit, but we funded 100% of their level 2 course.
That is incredible, and the open-mindedness to do that is incredible.
Yeah, I could name the clubs. I won't go into them today, but there's clubs within 50, 100-mile radius here who came to us, who are now running kids' courses at their own club, started participation schemes. And there will be new anglers. And I think this is, again, where we can be a bit short-sighted. Some of those would be the people running the clubs. We're going to run out of people to run clubs faster than we run out of anglers. Because, as you know, angling's been a tough time of it. It's been, going all the way back in this conversation to Peterborough as a very old, very successful club. Much like most clubs, it hit that 90s, 2000s kind of wall where everyone stopped going. They all went to commercials and, all the rest of it. And the sport went... and Peterborough is a great example. The historical matches on the North Bank and the Embankment, Coronation Channel, hundreds of anglers, buses of people, they're all gone. So we had to adapt as a sport and be different. And specimen angling's brought a lot more anglers back in, more so than match fishing. Successful as we are with ferry meadows and stuff, but specimen angling's brought most anglers back to the river, I think. Lure fishing, massive amounts of lure anglers. But we've got to adapt, and we've got to generate these new anglers and change the mindset, and completely outside of coaches. And this is where I think, we've obviously explored a lot of ways in which I think Peterborough is probably ahead of the curve. But we just keep going. It's not like we're not waiting for everyone to catch up, because then you've got to look at how you're training your bailiffs. Because it doesn't matter how many coaches you've got, the coalface is your bailiffs. Because they're the ones who see people first. And there's this kind of old-fashioned thinking that kids are just, can I swear on this, but, little bastards. Like you go, we don't want them little buggers, bikes dumped in the grass and they're fishing with a rod from Aldi or, whatever else. And you just kick them off, just, give them a kick kind of thing. They're off you go home kind of thing. And that's happened so much, so long. And we've had to change that mindset. We trained our bailiffs this way. They're fishing. It doesn't matter what they say to you, it doesn't matter how, and obviously kids can be lippy and things like that. The first thing you need to realise is they're fishing.
Yeah.
They're not snorting drugs. They're not playing Xboxes. So take that they want to fish.
Yeah.
They obviously don't know how to fish. They got no net. They got, all the usuals. So your first job as a bailiff, and this is not just kids, but every angler, bailiff comes with these negative connotations. Everyone thinks of a bailiff and they think, bruiser kind of thing. When we interview a new bailiff, and I mean interview, we don't just, as you said earlier, you take anyone that volunteers at a club. We interview people. They go through a 3-stage interview process to even volunteer for us, because we only want people who are going to make a difference. We've gone through so many that don't do anything, and every club will have gone through this.
Yeah.
You take everyone that sticks their hand up. Some of them just want a free ticket. Some of them believed it when they said it, and then life got busy. But that's a waste of our time. It's a waste of our resources. We want passionate people. The first thing we'll say to a bailiff, your job is to get people fishing, not stop people fishing.
Yes.
It's the angler that unticks the boxes.
Yeah.
So when you come across an angler, you go in thinking, how do I get this guy fishing? Has he bought a ticket? Has he got a licence? He's unticking the boxes. He's got no net. He's got no mat. He's got no licence. He's kicked himself off. Your job is to get him fishing.
Yeah.
And it's doubly true with kids. You see the little kind of buggers with their bikes and they've got a rod shared between them. Do you even know what a licence is? Do you know what a membership is? An important lesson here. I want to put this on as many public platforms as possible. Not to stifle the good things people are doing. Clubs let kids fish for free. That's fantastic. Now, I don't mind whether they do or don't, because some clubs think they should charge. We give our juniors free membership. I don't mind if people don't. If it's free, you've still got to give them a membership, because otherwise they're not insured.
Yes.
So a lot of clubs have done the kind of, we just let kids fish for free, so we just let them fish. And I've done a lot of work around the kind of policies and legal ramifications to clubs. You've got to issue them a free membership, because they've got to have a contract. They've got to have some kind of contract. Otherwise, they're just a vagary in your insurance that you didn't give them any permission to fish, so they can't be insured.
That's a really important point. So it's actually belts and braces approach. They still need some kind of identification that they're part of the club.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they don't fall under that umbrella.
It's permission to fish. The technical term is permission to fish. A membership is permission to fish.
Yeah.
It's a legal contract that you've given permission to fish, and a day ticket is a temporary membership from a legal perspective.
Yeah, makes sense.
It's a membership for the day.
Yeah. And this is where clubs have really got to get into the 2025 era, 26
Next level
era,
mindset.
27 era.
You've got to. There's a lot more danger these days. We're in a dangerous world of
Yeah.
data and GDPR and
Yes.
safeguarding
Yeah.
and health and safety. The School of Fish has got, 8 different policies. It's got health and safety policy. It's got a biodiversity policy. It's got a safeguarding adults, vulnerable adults policy. It's got, and like there's 8 different policies before you've even hit a session. And I could honestly talk about any topic for hours, but School of Fish is designed as an end-to-end process of getting a kid from that first bleak to a full-time angler. As I said, we've made the big mistake of doing loads of get fish, let's fish, whatever we want to call the sessions. We shove a whip in their hand. They catch their first bleak for 15, 20 minutes. The kid then gets bored and runs off, and we go, oh, well done. Did 50 today. We're 50 anglers better this year. You ain't. You've not gained a single angler.
No, it's retention, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
about
so we've
retaining
got
them in
this
sport.
end-to-end process, which through the tools we've got available at Clubmate involves automated emails, videos in the members area, tips, guides, all these kind of things. They go from their first time session, which is free. Everyone, I think, should get a free first time catch a fish. They then move on to what we call Skill School, which is the ongoing coaching sessions. Think of it as like football club. So every fortnight, whatever, they go to fishing club, essentially. We call it Skills School, and then start developing those ongoing angling skills, visit different venues, try different methods with our team of coaches. And then stage 3, we've got what's called the squad. And you probably saw some of our kids' squad stuff last year. They went and competed in several national events, and that's essentially your kids' junior team, your junior match squad. They came in the top 10 in that national celebration that we spoke about. Top 10 in the Daiwa Global, which was, I think, 38 nations fished. We had a P&DAA
Wow.
School of Fish Team Latvia. We had some of the local Latvian kids that fished in a little team together. And we're talking national, 500 kids, and we're coming in kind of top 10s kind of thing.
Yeah.
No one. It doesn't matter whether you win or don't win, but it's a sign that you've done something right. Because I
Yes.
remember when they couldn't even hold a whip, you know.
Yeah.
And we only plan to continue and expand on that. We want to do more and more of that.
I mean, it's no wonder why you've been voted top club in Angling Times list the last 2 out of 3 years. No, so twice in the last 3 years because of all the hard work you do.
Damn you, Reading. It's Reading in district, by the way. Broke my run.
Well, you've got some competition.
Yeah.
Now, I'm very aware that there's a lot of information here for guys and different angling clubs, and they're not going to retain a lot of what we said because it's just too much info. So obviously they would need to reach out to you.
Yeah.
So with the Clubmate, first of all, what's the best way of getting in touch with your Clubmates?
So I'm so passionate about this sport. I have no time, but I'm always happy to speak to people. So you can contact me, rob@clubmate.co.uk. And I think we'll probably put this in the link in the description in the comments. Or you can go to the website clubmate.fish and you'll find all of the information and you can get in touch with us and talk about that. Even if you don't know the software, like the software, or think it's a good idea, we help clubs. I've had so many conversations with the Clubmate hat on just to talk about how do I run my committee, how do we do, kids fishing, all those kind of things. Get in touch anyway.
Yeah, that's really important that you pick Rob's brains because he is a fountain of knowledge. It's unbelievable. And if you want to get in touch with him via the Peterborough District, what's the best way of doing that?
So Peterborough District, go to our website, fishinginpeterborough.co.uk. You'll find some contact details on there. But anyone can contact me anytime, chairman@fishinginpeterborough.co.uk.
And I'm just going to tie this up by saying, wow, this guy has blown my mind. The passion and there's just his knowledge base of everything has been an eye-opener today. You're an absolute gem to have for our area of looking after fishing. It's
always a pleasure. My biggest challenge is there's not enough time in the day. I'm so passionate about all of the parts of angling. I wish there was more time.
I asked Rob a question downstairs. I said, are you very busy? He went, said about 17, 18 hours a day. And I kind of went, you kind of go, yeah. And then when I just talking to him for the last couple of hours, I'm now gone, I get it.
Oh, it's genuinely, like, honestly, it is genuinely all day, every day. You'd have to be a certain type of person, and you don't have to be that kind of person to have success. I love what I do, and I said this to you earlier. I barely get to go fishing anymore. I wish I did. I love fishing, obviously, but I am just as satisfied helping fishing.
That's
I'm
amazing.
sat on my desk on a call, talking to you. I'm just as happy today as I would be catching fish because I love talking about it.
Well, I think it's people like you that make the sport grow, and we need to have more people like you, Rob. It's been an absolute pleasure to meet you. So thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome anytime.
As you can see, I've got me specs on. That can only mean one thing: match results are looming. Before we get into those, though, I just want to touch on what Rob was talking about, particularly the Clubmate. It's a fantastic piece of software where basically the fisheries can have total control about not just the booking, but the profile of the anglers. The bailiffs can use the app to see who's booked on. I think it was quite fascinating. They had the thought that had gone behind it. And it just shows how progressive Peterborough are as an angling club.
Mad, absolute mad.
Yeah,
They are a massive angling club, but doing it the correct way, aren't they?
yeah, it's fantastic. Right, yes, I want to thank Rob again for his time. That was amazing. He was here for hours. It was fantastic. Should we get on to the match results?
Go for it.
Right, I'm going to hit you with, not literally, but the Derek Skinner and Spilsby AA. Now, Derek, I hope I haven't missed one out here because he sends me a lot. They're still fishing.
They go every Wednesday and Sunday.
Yeah, this one's Wednesday, the 28th of Jan. This must have been as the rain came through.
Yeah.
Because third place was Paul Wade with 7.25 ounces.
Oh.
Second was Dave Dean with 9.25 ounces, and first was Nick Whitman with 13 ounces. I'll put the score sheet up. It was hard.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm going to say. Derek added there was filthy water from Tuesday's rain, and running hard killed it. 2nd of Feb, which was the Sunday, 13 anglers fished. They're still getting a good turnout.
Yeah.
Third place was Don Green with £2.425. Second place was Chris Hodson with £2.12.5, and first was Dave Andrew with £4.14. And I know Derek said that again the weights were very low, but the river was looking perfect. Then we go to Wednesday, the 4th of Feb, 12 anglers. The weights are going up. No, they're not. No, I was looking at this thinking, oh, these are better. No, they're not. Third place was Kieran Cook with 15.75 ounces.
Wow.
Second was George Mackay with £2.11.75. And Don Green was first with £11.4.5.
Oh, big jump then.
3 tench.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Well done, Dom.
Yeah, 3 tench.
I know it fished a bit better this Sunday from memory.
Well, you can see it's improving slightly because we go to the 8th of Feb. Third place was Dennis Houghton with £6.9. Second place was Alec Rawlins with £7.1.
Must be Waggler.
And in first place was Dave Andrew with 18.575.
Must be Tench again, was it?
Yeah, Dave Andrew had 4 tench, which was £18.
It's getting that time of year, isn't it?
Yeah.
Start of Feb.
Yeah, so I've got the Winter League results so far. I can't work this out. I don't know what I'm looking at. So, yeah, so Derek sent me an overview. I'll just stick it up so people can look at their leisure. But my brain can't work that one out at the minute. So, Derek, you're a legend. Thank you for sending me those. I've had nothing from Steve Smith, so I presume they.
No, I don't know if
fished.
they've had any matches lately. Don't think they've had the numbers, and I think some of the venues they've been going on have. Well, I think one of them was Carrot Wash, and with the amount of rain we've had, that will be like carrot soup. It'll be horrible, orangey, swirling. A bit like it's the 20-foot, isn't it? So it's top end of Glassmore.
20-foot is filthy, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's the same drain, but right at the top is Carrot Wash, and then it's Glassmore, and then it changes to the 20-foot, just on the Whittlesea water there.
Yeah.
Poplar Tree, I think.
Yeah, I was out on my boat, and the amount of rubbish coming through the system was incredible. About 2 weeks ago, it was.
Yeah.
There was lily pad roots coming through and all sorts. Still, so all the side drains hadn't really. I suppose they hadn't had a flush out all year.
Well, it's not that. I think it's the time of year where the weed boats go out. middle level sender, because I walked up the middle level on, well, bypass on Friday, and all the boats were gone, like all the working little boats.
Yeah,
So
okay,
they're all here, there, and everywhere, cleaning and getting ready to chop all the trees down and chuck it in the middle of the river like they do at March. They do a great job of that. Well done. It's frightening, isn't it? It's like their job is to take crap out of the river, but they just chop the trees and just literally just. It's about now, this time of year, where they do it. Not that it's snaggy enough as it is it? Bloody hell. But yeah. So all the drains are fairly coloured, apart from Benwick. March is whizzing through, it has a bit of colour, and then the colour just goes.
It's quite incredible watching the little river out there. It's I walk past and go, oh, I'm not going out to that, and then I go, oh, I fancy it. But
Yeah.
I go, oh, I fancy it. So I'll get the boat and go out.
Yeah.
And when I go downstream, suddenly with all the other rivers joining, all the drains joining, it's pointless. But yeah, it's amazing how the colour drops out so quick.
Yeah, it does. It does. A lot of the time, I said to someone the other day about it, and I said, normally you'd say, oh, when it runs, it fishes better. But I don't know about this year. I think this year it might be the other way around. And I thought about why would it not running be better than when it is? I think when it's running now, it just runs any colour out. And I think when we have the matches at March, you get in with your platforms and you're in and out and you're in and out for an hour and a half, and you're creating like a big cloud, aren't you?
Yeah.
And I think it just gradually sort of sifts through. There doesn't seem to be as many boats on March either, like there used to be. So I don't think
see
they're
any boats moving at all.
No. So you don't get that colour from the boats. It's almost like when it stands still and backs up, the colour sort of accumulates. Excuse me. And then when it runs, it just, it's gone. So I think when it's not been running and anglers have got in and made a bit of cloud and stuff like that, and it backs up slightly, the colour stays in the drain, in the river, and it tends to fish a bit better. But I don't know, maybe that's me just looking a bit too deep into it. But
who knows?
who knows?
It's one of those
But there's
mysteries,
still
isn't it?
plenty of fish about. It's a little bit patchy, but it's start of February, end of January. Everything is on the way up now.
Hopefully, yeah. Have you got some matches?
Yeah.
for us?
So we'll start with not this weekend, the weekend before. We had round 3 of the Hayjack League. We had 1 section at Benwick, 2 on the Bower at Whittlesea, and 3 sections at March. So Benwick was permanent pegs 1 to 9. The Bower, they started roughly about peg 4 or 5, through round the bend, and then pegged it up towards sort of the turning bay. Same old scenario with the Bower. It's fishing all right. One day it is, one day it isn't. Areas where there's quite a lot of fish and areas where it's a bit tougher. And basically either end was better. If you drew in the middle, you were, if you looked at a graph, it just went like that each end.
Yeah.
March was pegged. First peg below the allotment style was the first peg, and the last peg was pretty much up to the turning bay area. I think the best weight at March would have been about 17 or 18 pounds, something like that. The weights weren't as big at March, but there was lots of small fishing areas. Certain pegs seem to be producing bigger fish or an odd better fish amongst these small fish. No skimmers were caught. Not so many perch like there normally is. The Bower, Paul Borden, super crack himself. He had £22.10, which I think was on bread. Caught some nice skimmers. There was some odd big rudd caught through there as well. And then there was the rest of the weights were all at Benwick. I drew peg 4, permanent peg 4. I had £24.30.
You know how to draw, don't you?
Oh yeah. Considering the last time I drew peg 3 at Benwick, I blanked there. Yeah, I wasn't that optimistic because Benwick's been so up, down. Been very strange. Anglers went the previous Saturday and didn't catch anything. Packed up after like an hour. on the low number pegs, which was very odd considering the week before we had our hayjack and everyone caught loads of fish all the way down to sort of permanent peg 18 or 19. So it was a bit going there. Yeah, I had a lovely day. Everyone caught double figures. I think last in section was just £10 maybe. Ben Jackson had £19. There was a 16, a 15, loads of sort of 13s and 12s. So plenty of bites. Nice stamp fish as well. Obviously, you don't catch £24 of blips. So there's some nice sort of dumpy roach amongst them, which was good. So yeah, that was individual wise. Team.
So you were the winner.
I was the winner. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that little grin.
yeah. Well, you don't win nothing. You just win your section money. That's all you win. So it's 2 hayjack matches I've won now, and all you win is your 9 peg section. So, but it's
The shake
all
of
about,
Piddly is unbelievable.
so teams on the day, believe it or not, Peterborough won.
No.
They did.
How?
Honestly, they did. So
Did they have some ringers in?
no, they didn't. No, they had 21 points on the day. So well done, guys. Not last like the week before, and last but one from the week before that. And then equal second was Darwood Tackle and Baits and Vanderline Tackle and Baits. So our 2 teams sort of split. Our team split into 2 was equal second. Teams overall. So winning the league is Vanderline Tackle and Baits with 5 points. Runners up are Darwood Tackle and Baits with 8 points. And then you've got Stanjay Gold and Mark 1 White on 13. So the next round is this Sunday coming.
Is this the final round?
Final round, yeah. Normally the Hayjack sort of won after the Winter League final, but because Winter League finals later this year, it meant that everything's done before then, which is quite nice.
I was going to ask you about the Winter League final because I'm
Yeah.
looking at my calendar. So
Yeah.
I can't remember when. Is it in March?
Well, as near to it as you can get. 28th, Saturday,
28th.
the 28th of February.
So we're going to have a podcast go out the 25th. So, okay, so not next one, but the one after, we will be doing a Winter League special.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So this...
Alex, what is it about you coming around recording the podcast and planes?
No challenge.
Is it me or is it we regularly have a plane go over when...
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Been going over all day today, though, haven't they?
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Been out in the garden moving tons of stones and dishwashers and... not dishwashers, tumble dryers and washing machines and fridges and
Wow.
trying to get them through doors, and I've had a eventful day. So moving on to this Sunday just gone, was the March Open. I think it was 90 odd pegs they used above the bypass, pretty much all the way through.
I walked over the bridge Sunday morning
Yeah.
and the anglers were prepping,
Mm-hmm.
getting everything ready, and I saw this platform that, no word of a lie, was virtually halfway across the river.
Right.
And I said to myself, Gav Butler's here. He's the only person I know. He must be 10 foot tall, wears stilts when he puts his platform in. And then when I came back, I saw him fishing. It was Gav, and he was using a whip, a
On the
5
far
metre
bank,
whip
was he?
on the far bank.
Right. Yeah. Danny Mason style, was he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was actually catching fish behind him.
Yeah, I know the peg he's on. It's one of them that's very shallow that goes right out, but it's a grey area peg. Put it that way, because you've got trees above you as well, which is a nightmare. So it's a bit of a nightmare, that one.
Do Tackle and Bait sell extra extensions for the platform legs?
No, they're all the same.
I think he'd be in the market for a few.
Is he?
Yeah.
I'm not going to comment on that one. So I think 95 pegs. The winner, as predicted, was from near the swimming pool or behind the swimming pool on the long peg, as it's known. Very own. I can't get a bite, but I only got 80 fish. £22.12. You know what he's like.
Who's that?
Old Robert Hubbard, Van Gaal himself.
Louis Van Gaal.
Yeah.
Did he?
Van Gaal won it. Yeah, he £22.12 and a quarter. I know you like your quarters. He was on the long peg. Runner-up was Ben Bray from, I do believe, the culvert peg. So it's the first time that's framed this year with 22.10. Ian Jennings was very near Van Gaal, so in that little 3 or 4 pegs from the long peg towards the turning bay area. And then 4th was James Draculic with 18.12, and then 5th was Gavin Butler with 15.12 and a quarter on a 2 metre whip. So that was your top 5. Weights were, the fish have been in the same areas for quite a while now. Basically pegs 1 to 15 are pretty grim, to be honest. As soon as you get to, so from peg 1 through the narrows, there's a little white boat on a little kink of a bend. Anything from that below that has been pretty dog shit, and if you catch fish, they're very small. And then basically it just gets slightly better to the left of that, and then where the disabled pegs are, from there to the bridge is steady away, and then above the bridge is steady away up to the culvert. So as normal, this sort of match this time of year, the skimmers do make an appearance. They've not fed all year, just an odd one. So basically what we've learnt through the whole of the winter is all probably going to go against us now, because the venue changes so dramatically.
I was going to say, yeah.
From now until the final.
So mist on the water is not producing the fish then?
I don't know who drew it this week.
Do you think it's because it's rud orientated? It's very much temperature dependent.
I think you'll find whatever fish want to feed, they do show up there. So if it's big roach and you need to catch on hemp, it's a cracking hemp peg. If you need to catch skimmers, you'll catch skimmers there. If you need to catch rudd, they'll be there. It's one of them, whatever fish want to feed, they just want to be in that peg.
Yeah.
So depending on the conditions and stuff, it's one of them 3 species you're going to catch, isn't it? So yeah, the venue's on a bit of a change. There's lots of small fishing areas, there's some good stamp fish in other areas, and there's a mixture in between. So you could have 2 pegs away where they're catching every third fish is like this big, whereas you sit there 3 pegs to the left and all you catch is a tiny little fish, and there's not a lot you can do about it. It's never used to be like that. It used to be there was ways of catching better fish and stuff like that, but we'll see.
Do you think there's less fish in the river than
No. I think there's I mean, you only have to look at the results. Like, you get the conditions just right and the weights go whoo, and then you get a change or a bit too much flow, and I'm hoping the fact that there's not loads of them stamp roach being caught from sort of the health centre bridge up to the bypass, I'm hoping they might feed, but they normally do a disappearing act come the final. Whether it's because they're getting ready to spawn or they just go see ya and leave all the skimmers and rudd and perch and pommies in the river, I don't know, but we shall see. Hopefully a week later than normal, and it'll be good fishing.
Yeah, let's hope the weather changes, because at the minute it's just so wet, isn't it? It's horrible. Yeah. So stop raining, please, and let's have a bit of sunshine.
Indeed.
Yeah. Right. Do we have... I think we've just about covered it. What response are you getting for your Finland trip?
So we've had quite a lot of people come in the shop. Some anglers from all over have come over just to pay a tenner towards it. I know Ray's been going before and after the open matches and the Hayjet matches and collaring people. Obviously it feels like you're donating, but you've also got the chance of winning a Daiwa G90 Pro pole. So it's definitely worth a tenner. I'm not sure what we're up to at the minute, but we've got a long way to go yet, put it that way.
You put the link out on
yes,
PayPal.
Yeah, there's I think on the last podcast you put the PayPal on.
Yeah.
So yeah, next time you're in the shop, just remind me if I don't remind you about it.
Yeah, cool. Right, so we've got Hayjack next week, and there's another, is it?
So you've got Hayjack this coming Sunday, final round. Then you've got the last, so the Saturday is a bit of we call the Drains Open. So that'll be on the Bower and Benwick, I presume. That's on the Saturday.
Is that on the 14th or the 21st? I'm confused.
So that's the 21st.
So this week we've got Hayjack on the Sunday. The following
Yeah.
week, the 21st is that Fizz
and Stan will be organising that one, yeah. And then on the Sunday is what Bob calls the team's practice. So that's, I think, the biggest one out of all of them. So pretty much looking at all the sections going to be used. I think we're looking at section-wise for the final. Hopefully a sort of half section at Benwick, sort of 12 pegs at Benwick. And then a full section of 25 pegs on the Bower, and the rest will be at March. Not sure which areas yet, but
is that the 28th, Saturday?
That's the final, yes. Yeah. So you got the sections on the drains, then you've got 2 sections at Decoy, which I think you got the strips, which is Oak and Ewe as one, and then 6 Islands and Beastie as another one. So a 12 and a 13 split. And then at Float Fish, you've got Phoenix and 2 Islands, a 12 and a 13 split. And then at Rookery, you've got a section, a full section on J, so 25 pegs on J, a 12 and a 13 peg split. And then Magpie and Raven, a 12 and a 13 peg split.
Cool. So you've heard it first here then. So that's pretty cool. Has it been advertised anywhere else yet?
I think so. I think the team captains would have had an email of roughly how it's going to be. Obviously, the drains, they finalise nearer the time, because as proved, you can go there on a Saturday and catch nout, and go a week later on the Sunday and catch £24.
Yeah.
So
got to be a bit fluid with the drains.
Yes, they're changing very quickly. You know, you only have to go outside now, and everywhere just feels a little bit humid, a little bit brighter. Daylight hours is a massive thing for the drains, getting longer and longer and longer. So
cool. Right, buddy. Anything else you'd like to add?
Not really. No. Just make sure we keep on top of these cormorants as best we can. I know we can't really do a lot. I mean, the best we've got is to make sure we report when we see one, and just so that people know.
Yeah, I mean, people are going to remember for the next 2 or 3 weeks, but we need to kind of remind everybody in 6 months' time as well.
Exactly, yeah. You know, you've got... I think it was bad before Christmas, but as always, the rivers are pretty much knackered now, aren't they? The rivers are belting through, so the cormorants will travel a bit further. Instead of singles, they're now in 3s and 4s, because they know where the fish are. The fish are in their winter spots, and they're just mullering them. You know, you can't sort of blame the birds, because that's what they do. They're surviving, aren't they?
Yeah.
But there's just too many.
Yeah.
Simple as.
Yeah, wise words there, buddy. Right, I think we're going to wrap it up.
Cool.
Right, see you guys in a couple of weeks' time.